What is going on, people? Looking to do a topic on is the Indian Scout Bobber a good first bike? And as would have it, I had a comment today that asked that very question. For a first bike, I think my personal opinion is this would be a great first bike. The reason I say that is it's a bigger CC bike than I started out with. I started out on a 600. But I don't, in my opinion, CC doesn't really matter. Because normally what happens, I started out on a 600 and I know now that I could have started out on a 1000. You ride it, you get used to it, and probably a few months into it, you're like, yeah, I could have got a bigger CC bike and probably been a little happier. So I don't really fall into that category or that belief that, yeah, you need to start out with a small bike. You know, you see a lot of people start out with 250s. And it really boils down to what you're comfortable with. The way I look at it is, how big the motor is. If you don't twist this little thing, it'll go as slow as a 600. It'll go slow as a 250. It'll go as slow as you want. And you can always build up the comfort level to give it more throttle when needed. This bike in particular, cruiser bike, if that's what you're looking for, this bike is super light. I've said it in other videos. I believe it comes in at like 550 pounds. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not in motorcycles, and it's really manageable. It's really an easy bike to ride. It took me a little adjusting just because I was used to a bigger bike, and going down to the smaller bike, there was an adjustment period for me a little bit. But as far as a first-time bike, yes, in my opinion, you'll love it. This has got plenty of power. It's not the biggest CC cruiser bike you can obviously get. It's the small cruiser, 69 cubic inch, which is like 1,130, 40 something cc's. Very manageable, very easy to ride. I mean, it's just, and I think that has to do with just the low center of gravity. It's low to the ground, it's light, and it's easy. It's just easy to manage, and you don't feel like you're trying to control like a super heavy object. When it's moving, it feels light as a feather. So that, in my opinion, is more important on your first bike, is going to be weight and just how easy it is to ride. This one, not a problem whatsoever. So, like I tell everybody, everybody's different. So go to the Indian dealership in your area. First, go get your Class M endorsement, because you're going to have motorcycle license to do a demo ride. Go get that first and foremost. That way, first off, you'll learn the basics. You'll already be comfortable riding a motorcycle, and then go and also that'll help you decide if you're going to enjoy it enough to actually go make that big of a purchase. Motorcycle safety course is I'm not sure, because when I got my motorcycle endorsement, you didn't have to cycle safety course. You just had to go and do a written test and then a road test, and that's how I did it. So I've never been to the motorcycle safety course, but I believe it's 2 or 3 day course, and it's like $100 and something, $100 bucks, 100 and 200 bucks, somewhere in that range. It might vary depending on where you go. I don't know, but check into that. I kind of wish, and I still think about doing it sometimes, just because I don't think you can ever learn too much on motorcycle safety, and so I think it's a good course anyway, and you got to do that at least. I don't know, in Texas I know you do. I don't know about any other place, but you're gonna have to do it, so most likely. So go do that, and that gives you, like I said, it's a 2 or 3 day class, so you're gonna be on the bike, and they start you. Most of the ones I see, they start out like I know Harley Davidson puts them on. They use their Street 750 motorcycle, I believe, or a Street 500, maybe one of those two for the course. So they start you out on a fairly small bike, something manageable, and you kind of get your feet wet. And then if you ride through that course and you're like, oh man, that was fun, and then you kind of already know, okay, now I am ready to make the purchase, and you get your M endorsement and go to the dealership and do those demo days. That's the best way you're gonna know, because everybody's different. What your comfort level is, what you consider easy to ride, and what I consider easy to ride might be two different things. So do that, and I think if you like the way the Indian Scout Bobber looks, and you go and do a demo ride on it, and it's the first motorcycle you've ever bought, I think you will probably choose the Indian Scout Bobber. The only thing comparable that small cruisers would be like the Harley Sportster, the 1200. You can actually get an 883. It's a little smaller, but those are the Sportster 48. I test drove that. I really like that bike. I think that would be another good first bike if you're, like I said, if you're into the cruiser bikes. As far as anything else on bikes, I really can't talk a whole lot on, because I've pretty much had cruisers my entire life, except my first bike, which was a CBR 600 sport bike. I do like sport bikes, but mine was like a 1996, so don't know anything about the new ones. I would say if you're looking at sport bikes to start out with, I started out with 600, and I love that bike. Had plenty of power. I mean, I'm just saying, when I bought it, I could have stepped up to a 750 or a 1000 or something and been fine with that. But a 600 is a great bike, in my opinion, to start with, because that is what I started on. So if that's the kind of bike you're looking at, sport bikes, Honda obviously I think makes a outstanding product. Suzuki, the GSXR, a friend of mine had one of those back in the day. Good bike. Kawasaki's, I don't know anybody who's had a sport bike that was a Kawasaki, except like way back in the Stone Age when the Ninja first hit the scene, and that was the coolest bike ever, and everybody wanted one, including me. So Yamaha, their R6, R1s, those are, I think, are good bikes also, if that's what you're into. But if you're into the cruiser looking bike and you've got your eye on the Scout Bobber and you're just like, well, I don't know, I think you would be very happy as this is first bike, because like I said, I'm loving it, and this is my fourth bike, and I actually downsized. I've said in other videos, my last two bikes were Harley Fat Boys. I love those bikes, but as far as easy to ride, Scout Bobber, I say, is easier to ride. It's a lot more, especially cornering. I don't know, when you're on the Fat Boy, I don't know what, I need to check that, because every time I say this, I don't remember what the weight is. I want to say Fat Boy is probably around 700 pounds. Not a whole lot heavier than this, but couple of 100 pounds going into a corner. This one just seems so much more manageable. It's just super light, just easy to deal with. So yeah, I definitely would say this or a Sportster for a first bike would be a good choice. So that's what I say is do the, get your Class M endorsement, your motorcycle license, go out and do the demo days, go do a test ride. You don't have to do it on a demo day. Just demo days you can ride, pretty much every model they have. If you just want to, say, test ride the Bobber and the Sportster 1200, then you can just go and do a test ride. But out of the cruisers, and another thing, I don't know anything about cruisers that are like Yamaha and Honda and all those. I don't have any complaints on the brands. I think they make a great product. I've never ridden one, so I'm not going to even suggest one of those as a first bike, because I'd just be guessing. I've got a little experience with sport bikes, so that's why I said that about those as first bikes, and I've obviously had the experience with Harley. Go test. I'd say test ride the Sportster and the Bobber. I'd almost bet like I said, if you're already watching videos on the Indian Scout Bobber, it probably means you like it, you like the look of it. I would say you would probably choose it after doing a test ride. Like I said, I'm very impressed with the bike. It is a fun little bike to just run around town on. I've said the comfort thing, the suspension, it's a little annoying if you're on a bad road. If you're on a good smooth road, it's not that big of an issue. Comfort, at first I really thought, okay, this is going to be, I'll get off this bike after an hour or 30 minutes and be like, oh, okay, I'm ready to be off of it. But I can get out and ride for 30, 45 minutes and it doesn't even feel like I've been riding that long. So get down on it too bad for a comfort level, because it's really not that super uncomfortable. Like I said, I don't know if I'd want to get out and do super long trips on this, like going across country. But I wouldn't want to do that on a Fat Boy either. If you get a windshield on a Fat Boy, you can manage decent rides on that. Indian Scout Bobber, 100%. I think it would be a great first bike. So there's not a whole lot else I can cover. I've only got 620 miles on this bike, I think, so I haven't put a whole lot of time in on the saddle. But yeah, just getting started out, first bike. I think you would love it and love it for a long time. I don't think it'll get old very quick. And I'm in third gear. And the darn thing is quick. That was a third gear pull. It'll, it's not sport bike fast or anything like that. But for a cruiser, it'll get up and get on down the road. So first bike, I think it'll have everything you need as far as power. Weight and everything is fine. Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Remember, drop a comment down below if you have any questions, anything I might be able to help you with, anything you'd like me to talk about on the channel. I will do my best to answer all questions and respond to your comments. But anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.